48 teams. We watched them all. We studied the squads, the coaches, the form, the history, the pressure moments, everything. And after all of that analysis, the conclusion is brutal and simple. Only 5 teams at this World Cup can actually win it. Not 10. Not 8. 5. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why, and which single question could destroy each one of them before New York on July 19th. Let's go. Before we get into the 5, let's talk about the other 43 teams. Because this is important. Morocco reached the semifinals in Qatar. England have been knocking on the door for years. Germany are rebuilding with genuine quality. The Netherlands have Van Dijk, one of the best defenders alive. Japan are organized, disciplined, and dangerous on the counter. These are not bad teams. Some of them will genuinely threaten the top sides on a given night. But threatening and winning are 2 completely different things. To win a World Cup over 7 matches in 6 weeks, you need 4 things simultaneously. Elite individual quality, tactical flexibility, mental toughness in knockout football, and squad depth, because injuries, suspensions, and fatigue will test every single team before the final. When you apply that filter honestly, without sentiment, without national bias, 43 teams fall away. 5 remain. Here they are. Number 5. Argentina, the defending champions, and the most complicated conversation at this entire tournament. Because on one hand, you have the greatest player in the history of football, Lionel Messi, 38 years old, won World Cup, for previous attempts before he finally got there. The scenes in Qatar when he lifted that trophy, there has genuinely never been a moment like it in this sport. But on the other hand, reality. Messi hasn't completed a full competitive season since leaving PSG. At 38, his body cannot sustain the same minutes it once could. His fitness across 6 weeks of World Cup football, knockout rounds, extra time, the physical and mental weight of being the man an entire nation depends on. That is not guaranteed. And anyone who tells you otherwise is not being honest with you. Angel Di Maria is retired. Several key figures from that Qatar squad are older, slower, and less reliable than they were 4 years ago. And yet, here's why Argentina are still on this list. Julian Alvarez is 24 years old and one of the most ruthless strikers in European football right now. Enzo Fernandez has grown into a genuinely elite central midfielder. Mac Allister alongside him gives Argentina technical quality that most nations would dream of having in the center of the pitch. Rodrigo de Paul, the engine, the aggressor, the player who does the work that doesn't always make the highlights but always makes the difference. Defensively, Lisandro Martinez and Christian Romero, when both are fit, form one of the most physically imposing partnerships at this tournament. And then there's Scaloni, a coach who has won a Copa America, another Copa America, and a World Cup, who understands better than almost anyone alive how to manage the balance between protecting Messi and unleashing him in the moments that genuinely matter. The brutal question Argentina cannot answer: what happens if Messi picks up an injury in the group stage, or simply runs out of physical fuel by the semifinal? In Qatar, everything went perfectly. In football, everything going perfectly twice in a row almost never happens. No team has defended the World Cup since Brazil in 1962. The weight of history sits directly on Argentina's shoulders. But Messi once proved history wrong. He could do it again. Never ever count them out. Number 4. Brazil. 5 World Cup titles. The most famous football shirt on the planet. A nation that doesn't just love this game. It breathes it, lives it, defines itself through it. And yet, 2002 was the last time they won it. 24 years. For Brazil, that is not just a drought. That is a generational wound. So why does 2026 feel genuinely different? One word: Ancelotti. Carlo Ancelotti has won the Champions League 5 times. He has managed the biggest clubs in world football: Real Madrid, AC Milan, Bayern Munich, Chelsea, Everton. He has handled dressing rooms full of the most fragile, most powerful egos in sport and consistently produced results. When he took over Brazil in 2024, the transformation was almost immediate. The team stopped being a collection of brilliant individuals doing brilliant individual things and started functioning as an actual unit. Defensive shape, organized pressing, clear tactical identity. And the attacking quality he now has to work with is genuinely frightening. Vinicius Jr. on his best days, and we've seen those days in the Champions League, in La Liga, on the biggest stages in club football, he is the most dangerous attacking player in the world. Not one of, the most. That pace, that skill, that ability to conjure goals and assists from moments that look like nothing. Rafinha on the other flank. 12 goals for Barcelona last season. More creative than he's ever been, and still improving. Alisson Becker in goal. 32 years old and still among the 3 best goalkeepers on the planet. The concern is the defensive width. The wing-back positions carry question marks that good teams will look to exploit. And then Neymar, the comeback story that nobody quite knows how to read. Back at Santos, trying to prove his fitness after nearly 2 years away from competitive football. If Neymar arrives at this World Cup even close to his best level, he changes the entire equity, the ability to do something no other player in the squad can do. If he doesn't make it, Brazil go in without that dimension entirely. This is Ancelotti's biggest test. Not Real Madrid in a Champions League final. Not managing Ronaldo and Benzema. Managing Brazil's expectations at a World Cup after 24 years of waiting. The pressure doesn't get heavier than that. But if any manager alive can handle it, it's him. Number 3, Portugal. And let's just take a moment before anything else to acknowledge what we are actually watching. Cristiano Ronaldo, 41 years old, his 6th World Cup. In the entire history of this tournament, no outfield player has ever done that. 5 Ballons d'Or, the all-time record for international goals. Champions Leagues with 3 different clubs. The most decorated individual career the sport has ever produced. And the one trophy that has always been just out of reach, the World Cup. Portugal have never won it. Not once. In 1966, Eusebio's golden generation reached the semifinals and finished 3rd. Every generation since has arrived with the squad to go all the way, and found a way to stop short. Qatar 2022. Quarterfinals. Euro 2024. Quarterfinals on penalties. But here is what makes this Portugal squad categorically different from every previous version. It is no longer built around Ronaldo, and that, paradoxically, might be the exact thing that finally sets them free. Because when you look at this squad honestly, Bruno Fernandes, João Neves, Bernardo Silva, Vitinha, Nuno Mendes, João Cancelo, Ruben Dias, Rafael Leão, Goncalo Ramos, Diogo Costa, you are looking at a starting 11 that by itself, without the greatest player of all time, would still be among the 3 or 4 strongest squads at this tournament. Bruno Fernandes has produced 30 assists in his last 40 matches for Portugal. 30. He has been criminally underrated at international level for years, and is now the heartbeat of everything Portugal do going forward. João Neves is 20 years old and already being spoken about by coaches across Europe as a generational talent. The composure, the intelligence, the technical quality at his age is extraordinary. Ruben Dias remains elite. Diogo Costa is one of the most commanding young goalkeepers in world football. And Roberto Martinez's side proved something enormous in June 2025. They won the Nations League. They beat Germany in the semifinal. Then they beat Spain, the best team in Europe, in the final. The mental ceiling that has held Portugal back for years? There is real evidence that it is finally cracking. But we also cannot avoid the grief that this Portuguese squad carries into this tournament. Diogo Jota, the Liverpool forward, one of the most important players in that squad, passed away in a tragic accident in July 2025. Every warm-up, every changing room, every big moment before every big match, he will be there. In their thoughts, in the way they play, in the reason they refuse to let this opportunity go. Ronaldo is 41. There is no next time. There is no we'll get it in 4 years. This is it. And Portugal have never looked more ready. Number 2. Spain. And the honest truth is, for large parts of writing this analysis, Spain were sitting at number 1. Because if you ask any ceremony on German soil, then dismantled, 10 victories, 36 goals scored, for conceded. Mathematically perfect. But none of that is even the most exciting thing about this Spain team. Lamine Yamal is. He was 16 years old during Euro 2024. 16. By the time that World Cup final takes place in New York, he will be 18. And right now, at this moment, serious football people across Europe are having a conversation about whether Lamine Yamal is already the best player in the world. Not the most exciting young player. Not the best teenage talent. The best player. Full stop. A 91st minute semi-final goal at a major international tournament at the age of 16, with the composure of someone who has been doing this for a decade, and that smile, that permanent, irrepressible, utterly unbothered smile of someone who finds all of this genuinely and completely easy. Nico Williams on the left flank, the player who controls football matches not through moments of brilliance but through a kind of positional and intellectual perfection that makes Spain almost the legitimate question mark. Spain play without a traditional striker. Their false nine system creates beautiful confusion for opponents, but in a single brutal knockout, the absence of a natural goalscorer can leave them searching for a breakthrough they can't find. But here, Pedri is 22. Williams. This group of players will dominate international football for the next might just be the beginning. Right now, in this moment, they are the benchmark. They are the teams. Number 1. France. And when you look at this squad, genuinely look at it position by position, starter by starter against the 8, had the trophy almost in their hands and still came home without it. The talent has never been the issue unless is on the line. France performed to the level their squad demands. Those questions still exist. And will Kylian Mbappé, 27 years old, Real Madrid's number 9, the highest scorer in Real Madrid's history at a historically young age. The man who scored a hat-trick in a World Cup final at 23 and still ended up on the losing side, which, if anything, tells you everything about how good Argentina were rather than anything negative about Mbappé. He is still, by almost any measure, the most complete forward on the planet. The pace is still unmatched. The finishing with both feet is clinical. The big game mentality, the ability to produce something extraordinary when the stakes are absolute highest. That is what separates true generational talents from simply very good players. But Mbappé is just the beginning. Ousmane Dembélé, 14 goals and 17 assists last season for PSG. Still, somehow, one of the most underrated attackers at this tournament. Relentlessly direct. Explosively quick. A work rate that has transformed him from a player with unlimited potential into a player delivering on it consistently. Michael Ollis, the Bayern Munich winger who experts increasingly describe as France's wildcard weapon. Elegant, creative, left-footed, with the ability to unlock a deep defensive block in ways that most wingers simply cannot. In midfield, Camavinga and Rabiot provide a combination of athleticism and technical quality. Aurélien Tchouaméni as the defensive anchor gives France the base from which everything else operates. And defensively, 2 consecutive elite seasons in Serie A, now firmly in the conversation for the best goalkeeper in the world. Here is the number that matters most about someone else, is something only 1 or 2 teams at any World Cup can claim. France claim it comfortably. Didier Deschamps, manager since 2012. World Cup winner as a manager who chases beautiful football or standing ovations. He chases trophies. He managed at the to feel like he Mbappé. The psychological weight across 6 weeks becomes a genuinely heavy burden. France can look flat. France can look functional when they should need convincingly. They don't need your approval. They just need to be standing at the end. In 2000 ending at the end. Bookmakers, analysts, coaches, football professionals across every most likely to win player. All they have to do now is actually go and do it. So there it is. 5 teams. 1 trophy. France, built to win it and deep enough that nothing can stop them on paper. Spain, the most beautiful football in the world and a generational talent who is only just getting started. Portugal, carrying grief, carrying history, carrying Ronaldo's final chance at the one thing he never got. Brazil, Ancelotti, Vinicius, and 24 years of a nation holding its breath. Argentina, older, slower, and still somehow impossible to count out as long as Messi is walking onto that pitch. The analysis is done. The predictions are made. But this is football. And football has never once cared about analysis or predictions. So tell me, who wins it? Drop your country in the comments right now. And if this video gave you something to think about, subscribe. Because as this World Cup gets closer, we are just getting started.